Now, this Sunday marks the 32nd anniversary of the death of Elvis Presley. Over 3 decades after his death, interest in the King is as great as ever. And in 2008, 5,000 Elvis fans got together for a massive tribute show at the Bolton Arena. Later this month, 5 of the world's finest Elvis tribute artists will be embarking a mini tour of the UK. So we thought we'd catch up with one of them ahead of it. On the line from Memphis, where he's been taking part in Elvis Week 2009, I'm joined by Shawn Klush. Hello, Shawn.
Hey, sweetie, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining us. We should say that you came first to the British public's attention when you won The World's Greatest Elvis on BBC One a couple of years ago. You really are as Elvis gets.
Well, that's what they tell me. I don't know. I don't feel any different, but it's really an honor to be able to travel the world and to be able to do this tribute with the likes of the people that worked with him.
No, sure. It must be absolutely amazing. What is your favourite Elvis song to sing?
My favourite, there's a bunch that's my favourite to sing, but probably the ultimate Elvis song, the epitome of Elvis Presley, is probably If I Can Dream. That speaks volumes for his life as well,
Do you ever think, do you know what, today I'm just not going to do Elvis. I'm going to listen to the Black Eyed Peas and...
Listen, I have a stigma. I listen to everything. I'm a Bon Jovi fan. I'm a Garth Brooks fan. All kind of classic rock and stuff and this, that, and the other. But my personality and everything it relates to Elvis more than it's related to any other artist.
During the judging of The World's Greatest Elvis, Joe Esposito, Elvis's lifelong friend, confidant and associate, said that you gave him goosebumps and flashbacks to his days with Elvis. How did that make you feel?
I don't know how to take those things because it's very hard for me to comprehend that.
Yeah.
I accept it, excuse me, merely because it's Joe, and I'm glad I can move them like that. But for a little guy like me from basically nowhere, it's a very, 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 tough thing for me to accept because I don't feel that I'm anything any more special than any of the other guys are that are doing this, So anybody who gives me any kind of regard, I take it, but I really appreciate it. But I don't feel any better or bigger or anything else more than anybody else.
You're so sweet and humble. Do you look like Elvis? Or is it all costumes and makeup?
Well, people tell me that, but I haven't had any plastic surgery, and, makeup only enhances a stage, so you have to have a base form to begin with. I like to think that I'm okay, my bone structure, I never screwed around with my bone structure. I never had any plastic surgery. I never had any transplants of any kind or any of that stuff, so... I don't know, I guess people just have to judge from what they see, None of our pictures are fixed up or anything like that. Sure.
Is it true that you wear a special ring when you perform?
Yes, I do. DJ Fontana, a lifelong friend of mine that I've known for about 15 years now, 20 years, when Elvis came out of the Army, one of the first things that Elvis did was to go to Lowell Hayes, a jeweler, and he bought 2 more horseshoe rings. When he was in Germany in the Army, he had given his horseshoe ring to Priscilla. And so he didn't have one. So when he came back, he went and he bought 2. And then he went up to Nashville to record. And so he brought the old band back in. And Elvis was recording the song in the dark, pretty much in the studio with only one light on him. And DJ Fontana was outside the booth and looked up on the ceiling, and he saw a bunch of lights that looked like stars in a horseshoe form.
No.
And when the session came to a break, he went over and he said, Elvis, man, what was that? And Elvis said, it's a new horseshoe ring. And DJ said, man, that's a nice ring. So Elvis took it off, and he said, you want to wear it? And DJ said, well, sure. So DJ's walking around wearing the ring going, that's pretty cool, this, that, and the other. And the session went on all night into the next day. And as the story goes, they both forgot about it. And DJ woke up a couple of days later and said, man, I forgot to give Elvis back his ring. So they were doing the soundtrack to G.I. Blues, I believe, or something to that effect. And DJ said, well, Elvis, here's your horseshoe ring. And Elvis said, nah, man, you keep it. If I ever go broke, I'll know where to come get it. And so he's had it ever since, and every time I go on stage and I work with DJ, he lets me wear the ring.
That is a brilliant story. Now, let me ask you this. We all have our favourite Elvis era, be it the early days, Sun Records, the movie years, or the 70s. Which is your favourite era? When you think of Elvis, which Elvis are you thinking of?
Well, because I was born in the late 60s, I probably tend to be anywhere from, 68 to about 73, 74. Though I wrote the last 8 years of Elvis's life out, I was involved with it because I was around at that time and I remember it. But those stick out in my head as the most prominent ones. I think every era had a special moment in it. 50s had its explosive moments. The movies were the first 4 or 5 movies. They had a very, very, very strong impact on the culture, I think. And, of course, the 68 special and the return to Las Vegas was probably the highlight of his entire career, I think. The last being the Aloha show.
You're going to share the stage with many of Elvis's musicians and backing singers on your forthcoming British dates. That must be goosebump-inducing for you. Tell us about them, who you're going to be performing with.
I've developed a real close kinship with the Sweet Inspirations. In fact, they're really good friends. They've eaten dinner at my house. We've become real tight as people, not just as the show. So I know them in a personal light. So having said that, it makes it more easy to work with them live on stage. See, we kind of know each other's personality now, so it's quite an ostentatious thing to happen to one. You know what I mean? And we're pretty lucky to have that ability to do that.
Okay, well, Shawn, thank you so much for joining us. You're over in the UK at the end of this month, playing dates in Edinburgh, Manchester, Harrogate and Cardiff.
We can't wait to get over there, and we just ask one thing of everybody over there.
Okay.
Please don't let it rain.
Okay, don't worry about it. Leave it with me.
You guys are sweethearts. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Bye, Shawn. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.
Bye-bye.